The Bold and the Beautiful B&B recap for Thursday, August 14th, reveals that Luna Nozawa, Lisa Yamada wanted to see John Finn Finnegan Tanner Novelin, while Ridge Forrester's Torsten K breakup delay frustrated Brooke Logan Catherine Kelly Lang. Here's how Thursday's B&B episode went down, at Forrester Creations. Brooke gave Katie, Logan, Heather, Tom updates on Nick Marone, Jack Wagner leaving just before she arrived. After Brooke admitted Nick had shown her an engagement ring, she said he was holding on to until he returned. Of course, there was some talk about Ridge being the man Brooke truly wanted, at the Forrester mansion. Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, understood that Brooke's rescue was traumatic, but she reminded Ridge that Brooke's future was with someone else and refused to take the ring off her finger. Ridge looked torn and guilty before heading to the office, where he joined Brooke for a private conversation. Brooke wondered how things went with Taylor earlier, so Ridge said Kelly Spencer, Sophia Perras, was there, and it wasn't the right time to explain things. Brooke told Ridge about Nick's ring and how he almost proposed to her in Italy. After Brooke reminded Ridge that he didn't want to lose her, and said he'd make this right. She asked when he'd do that. Brooke dangled the possibility of going back to Nick if Ridge couldn't end his relationship with Taylor and reunite with her. Ridge didn't clarify his plans, but he did pull Brooke into a warm embrace. Back with Taylor. She got a visit from Katie at Eric Forrester's, John McCook, house. That led to some bickering about Brooke and Ridge since Taylor felt they'd been so codependent in the past. Although Katie was clearly still rooting for Ridge and Brooke's reunion, Taylor felt that Ridge would only face more heartache if he went back to his ex. That's why Taylor warned it wasn't going to happen. In the design office, Electra Forrester Linnea Grace felt bad for making Will Spencer Crew Morrow wait on the next sizzling step in their relationship, especially when so many other girls would jump at the chance. Will insisted he only had eyes for Electra, who enjoyed a makeout session with him. Since Electra knew Will was nothing like Remy Price, Christian Weissman, she assured him of her trust. Electra also admitted that her dad cheated and devastated her mom when she was younger, so their divorce affected her and made her more cautious. Nevertheless, Electra appreciated Will's patience and felt she'd be ready for the next step soon. Meanwhile, Lee Finnegan, Naomi Matsuda and Sheila Sharp Kimberlyn Brown took Luna's hands as they helped her walk for a bit. Luna also put on some lipstick and was feeling more like herself. However, Luna made it clear that the resentment was gone and vowed to make the most of this second chance. Having Lee and Sheila's support meant a lot to Luna. Luna also confessed that she wanted to see Finn, but Lee seemed uncomfortable. Lee insisted that couldn't happen right now, but Luna held out hope for the future. Sheila eventually brought up Luna's interest in Will, which came as a shock to Lee. That led to Lee warning Luna not to think about boys, especially Will since he's a Spencer. Of course, Luna had Will sting flashbacks anyway and suggested that he could have kissed her back to life. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say Luna will prove she's still a troublemaker at heart in the coming weeks. So stay tuned for any alarming news ahead. CDL will have other thrilling Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, news and updates to read up on, so stop by often for more B&B details. The morning sun filtered through the Forrester mansion windows like it had been choreographed by a lighting director, warm, golden, and full of false hope. Downstairs, the atmosphere wasn't nearly as serene. Brooke Logan stood at the edge of the living room, arms folded, lips pursed, and eyes locked on Ridge, who seemed to be avoiding direct eye contact as if his coffee mug were the most fascinating thing on earth. "Ridge, we can't keep doing this," Brooke began, her voice carefully controlled but already hinting at the impatience that had been brewing for days. He glanced up briefly, only to look away again. "Logan, I told you, I'll talk to Taylor. You've been just going to do it for over a week now," she cut in sharply. "Every time I think you're going to finally end it with her, you find another excuse." Ridge sighed, running a hand through his hair, clearly hoping to diffuse the tension. "It's not about excuses. Taylor's been dealing with Steffi's issues, with Finn. I don't want to make things worse right now." Brooke's frustration spiked. "And what about making things worse for us? Every day you delay, Ridge, it feels like you're still choosing her." The words landed with the kind of sting Brooke knew would either push him into action or push him further away. Meanwhile, at the Cliff House inside Steffi and Finn's living room, Luna sat on the edge of the couch, fingers fidgeting in her lap. Her normally bright expression was dulled, weighed down by a mix of uncertainty and determination. "Luna, are you sure about this?" Steffi asked gently, taking a seat beside her. "Seeing Finn, I mean, you two aren't exactly in the best place right now." I know, Luna admitted. But I can't just let things stay like this. He's been avoiding me, and I need to know why. If I've done something wrong, I want to hear it from him. And if I haven't, she trailed off, her voice softening, then I just want things back the way they were. Steffi gave her a sympathetic look. He's been under so much pressure lately between me, the kids, work, and, well, Sheila always being in the shadows. Sometimes when Finn shuts down, it's not about the person he's avoiding. Luna's eyes shimmered with restrained tears. I just need to try Steffi. Even if it's awkward, I have to see him. At the hospital, Finn was buried in patient files, but even the busiest shift couldn't completely distract him from the thought of Luna. He didn't want to admit it, not to himself, not to anyone, but part of the reason he'd been distant was because of the way things had changed since her mother's sudden reappearance in LA. Poppy had a way of stirring trouble without meaning to, and Finn had been wary about letting Luna get pulled deeper into Forrester family chaos. When he finally looked up from his chart, he froze. Standing in the doorway was Luna, her hesitant smile matching the vulnerability in her eyes. Hey, she said softly. Luna, his tone, was both surprised and cautious. What are you doing here? I needed to see you, she replied simply. Can we talk? Finn hesitated, glancing toward the nurse's station before motioning her into the small break room. Once the door shut, she wasted no time. You've been avoiding me, she said, her voice trembling just enough to betray her fear. I don't know why, but I'm not going to let us drift apart without understanding what's going on. Finn exhaled slowly, pressing a hand to the back of his neck. It's not you, Luna, it's everything else. I'm trying to keep some distance so things don't get messy for you. But by keeping your distance, you are making things messy, she countered. If there's something you're worried about, let me help. Don't just shut me out. His eyes softened at that, but before he could answer, his pager buzzed, forcing him to step back into professional mode. I have to go, he said reluctantly. We'll talk later. Okay. Luna nodded, but the uncertainty in her heart didn't. Back at Forrester Creations, Brooke had arrived for a meeting, but work was the last thing on her mind. She spotted Hope in the design office, sketching at her desk. Mom, you look like you're about to explode, Hope observed, setting her pencil down. Brooke didn't even try to deny it. It's Ridge. He's still dragging his feet about, breaking things off with Taylor. And I'm starting to wonder if he even wants to. Hope frowned. Do you really think he's hesitating because of feelings for her? Or because he doesn't want to hurt her? It doesn't matter, Brooke replied, her voice firm. Either way, he's hurting me. And if he can't see that, she trailed off, letting the threat hang in the air. Hope leaned back in her chair, clearly torn. Maybe give him one more chance to follow through before you draw the line. Brooke's eyes narrowed just slightly. One more. That's it. At Il Giardino, Taylor sat outside at a corner table, sipping tea and scrolling through her phone. She didn't see Ridge approaching until his shadow fell across the table. Taylor. He greeted with a small smile. Her face brightened immediately. Ridge, I wasn't expecting to see you. I needed to check in. How are you doing? They spoke for a few minutes about Steffi, the kids, and the usual Forrester family whirlwind. Ridge kept telling himself that he would bring up the breakup, that this was the moment. But every time he looked into Taylor's warm, trusting eyes, the words stalled in his throat. She had been there for him through so much, and hurting her felt like betraying someone who'd always been in his corner. Still, in the back of his mind, he could hear Brooke's voice, and he knew that each day he stayed silent was another day he risked losing her. By the time Taylor excused herself to meet a patient, Ridge was left staring into his coffee cup, realizing he had once again let the moment slip away. Evening at the Cliff House, Luna stopped by to check on Steffi after her emotional day. She told her cousin about the brief encounter with Finn, omitting nothing. He said it's not me, Luna explained, but I could tell he's holding something back. I just wish he'd trust me enough to be honest. Steffi sighed. Sometimes, with Finn, you have to give him a little space before he opens up. But, if you feel like this is important, don't be afraid to push. Luna managed a small smile. Thanks, I think I will. Later that night, Brooke and